Welcome to Back on the Broomstick,
a modern witch's spoken word grimoire.
where two witchy friends from way back are reconnecting to their pagan roots after a long period of mundanity.
We're rewalking the path of the wise and trying out all the latest spells, rituals, and magical theory in today's witchcraft and pagan practices.
So grab your wand and your incense,
Your cauldron and your crystals,
and join us
as we get
back on the broomstick.
Hi, and welcome to Back on the Broomstick. I'm Layla, and this Halloween spooky episode, we're going to be telling you some ghost stories. We've each picked out true-ish tales of the paranormal from somewhere in the USA.
And I'm Chelle, and I love this time of year for a bunch of different reasons, but the one thing that ever since I was a small child that I have always loved about this time of year, the Samhain season, October, Halloween, getting darker earlier, is ghost stories. Layla, what better thing to give folks on our Halloween Samhain episode than some ghost stories? So tonight we are going to do kind of a Back on the Broomstick Stoned Witches Hour twisty and bring you some ghosties. But I want to start with my inspiration. So we pick locations randomly. Actually, I still don't know what Layla's going to talk about and where and who and what ghosty spirits. But knowing Layla like I do, I got a sneaking suspicion there's going to be a lady in white tonight. But a shout out to our beloved Helen JoJo.
We love you, Helen. Thank you
We
so
love you
much for
so
everything
much.
you do.
So actually, she is who inspired my choice for tonight. So Helen made a comment on our Facebook discussion group about wanting to do ghost hunts and maybe finding some locally. So Helen, I have found a couple ghosty places near you.
We are definitely no strangers to very amateur ghost hunts. And what better time than the Halloween season to talk about ghosts, ghouls, and things that go bump in the night?
Well, it's a good time to actually go ghost hunting. Who wants to go ghost hunting in February? Like it's cold, man.
Right. Not only is the atmosphere conducive, but they do say that the veil is thinner, meaning the barrier between the living and the dead is kind of thin to non-existent this time of year. And also, interestingly enough, at Beltane, which it is in the southern hemisphere. Hey, Australia, happy Beltane.
Shout out to New Zealand.
The veil is also thin at that time of year as well. The dead are restless this time of year and they want to come back. So we tell ghost stories as warnings, I guess, and also as it's kind of fun. Like I said, the atmosphere this time of year is more conducive to being scared. So it's a good time of year to go ghost hunting and tell chilling tales.
Well, I want to start off with, I actually got two locations I want to talk about, but I want to talk about my first location, which I hear you, Thin Veil, October, May, Beltane, Samhain, like I get it, but places like what we're going to talk about tonight are kind of spooky wooky all year round. Like I get the Thin Veil thing, but you go in there in a late July night and it's still spooky wooky.
The thin veil just means that things are more likely to happen. Your beloved dead are more likely to come around, and also that the spirits of places and the dead that roam certain places might be more active. But that doesn't mean that they're not around other times of the year, and that doesn't mean that some places and some spooky events aren't creepy and crawly with ghosts all year round. And I'm guessing that you have a place that's spooky every part of the year.
I do. We are going to take a little trip tonight to the outskirts of Cincinnati, Ohio. And I laugh because being from New York, we have in New York what's called the tri-state area, the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania region. Ohio has a tri-state area too. Who knew? I, for the life of me, can't think of off the top of my head what the other two states are, but Illinois, Indiana, do not quote me. Do not send me messages that I don't know geography because I'm already aware of this.
You're doing a story out of Ohio?
Ohio,
I'm doing one out of Illinois.
that's next door.
Yeah. Yeah, we picked states right next to each other.
You want to see my
Anyway,
surprised face? I'm in Ohio. I am in the outskirts of Cincinnati, Ohio, and there's a little old cemetery there called the Hopewell Cemetery.
Hopewell. That sounds like awfully
Hopewell.
optimistic name for a place where dead people go.
I never thought of it that way, but I guess you're
I mean,
right.
what are we hoping for?
A well of mystery? I don't
A
know.
calm and serene afterlife.
Now, supposedly, I'm no expert. This is the most haunted location in Ohio, they say. Helen Jojo is going to have to back us up on this one.
I'm having flashbacks to our Stoned Witches Hour days. Every location is the
Is the
most
most haunted
haunted.
in America, all of
That's right.
them.
In the tri-state area.
In
In
the
the
world!
world. And it's probably got a portal to hell somewhere too.
I didn't find that, but I bet you it does.
If we kept digging, it probably is there. But most haunted location in Ohio. I love it. All right.
Okay, so it's most haunted location. Now, it is located in a place called College Corner, Ohio.
Oh yeah, colleges are always scary places.
Seriously. I think what got me the most with this particular one, they say that it is one of the best ghost hunting sites in southern Ohio. They claim strange lights can be regularly seen, like flashing lights as if there were someone in the woods turning on and off flashlights. But they've had people there, they've had professional ghost hunters, and they have secured the perimeter, and there's absolutely no one there shining lights. There's also some apparitions here. There are folks that say that they have seen apparitions literally rise from the ground as if the folks were literally rising from their grave. Okay, Layla, I gotta admit, if I'm walking around a cemetery, and you know how we are, I probably have smoked a little bit of the devil's lettuce. So I'm feeling good. I'm walking around. And if I just happen to look over and I see like this ghost laying, rising up from the ground and slowly stand up, yes, I'm probably going to pee myself.
Yeah, that does sound pretty creepy. So people have actually seen that?
That's what they say. That's
Wow.
what they say. And
Wow.
actually, I did a lot of digging on this, and there were several instances on multiple sites that said this. So this wasn't like a one and done, one person said this. So that's a little bit creepy. There's also a theory that there's a superstition, and you know how I am when you tell me part of a story and won't tell me the ending, because then I absolutely have to go find out the ending. They say that if you go there at night,
When else are you gonna go ghost hunting?
if you're going, Jesus. So they say that if you go at night, that if you leave your car, and this is a legend, apparently a well-known legend. Again, I need Helen Jojo to back me up on this. So this well-known legend says that if you leave your car and walk through the cemetery, you will return and find a startling surprise inside your vehicle. Now, first of all, that takes me back to the very first time I went to Fallbrook with the baby bonnet in the car. But this is where you are provoking me. It's like poking the damn bear. They say those who claim to have experienced this refuse to reveal what it is, and that basically they just call it the surprise. I need to know what the surprise is. Okay?
So
Okay?
this is like some secret item that only people that have seen this particular apparition get?
No, not even an apparition. It just says that if you leave your car and walk through the cemetery, you're gonna return to your car and find a startling surprise inside your vehicle. Like, are we talking candy? Like what? I need to know.
They're practically begging for us to go park a car there.
Literally, they are provoking me into a road trip to Ohio.
Obviously, they don't know us.
Here's the thing. Every single place that I did research on this says that. They're literally saying shall come to Ohio.
That's what I heard.
And you and I both know that Helen Jojo will put us up for the night just so we can go to the cemetery. So, like, they're provoking
All
me.
right, I'm packing up the car. Once I can extract you from the crowds of Salem, road trip.
So, they also say that a specific eerie light in the cemetery is associated with bad luck for those who come too close to it, but they don't say the origin of the light. So like I don't know if this is like a random light that appears, don't walk near it or you get bad luck. They're not really specific. It just says a specific eerie light in the cemetery is associated with bad luck for those who come close to it.
Is it a bad luck orb? Is it a glowing orb at night that brings bad
Exactly.
luck?
I know.
It wouldn't bring me bad luck. It would bring me good luck. I know it.
But like I said, they do talk about mysterious lights, unexplained lights, such they say there's one example is lantern-like lights or floating balls of light moving through the cemetery.
Orbs.
Orbs, yeah, yeah.
Obviously, that's orbs.
And then of course the voices. I I can't say I've been to a cemetery where I haven't heard voices, so this is like nothing to me. But they say that you hear clear voices that seem to come from all around, despite the cemetery being isolated. Again, reminds me exactly of Fallbrook. Like I said, they're literally making me want to go. There is there is a story that they like to take boys like to take girls out there. We'll call it for a first date and we'll leave it at that. And they like to explore things with their female friend in this cemetery. Well, there's a legend that kids would go out there, try to do the chicka wow in the cemetery, and they'd be mid act, and all of the sudden, one or both of them would be like totally frozen. Like almost the way it was described, it sounded like what do they call that? Sleep paralysis,
Yeah.
but it's like sex paralysis.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of these ghost stories, you'll find them around places. Either the ghost stories exist and so it turns into a makeout spot, or it's a makeout spot and then suddenly ghost stories erupt around it. Yes, you are right. My ghost story is a lady in white story. But particularly in America, lady in white and hitchhiker stories that I'll get into later are kind of morality tales in a lot of ways. And so these ghost stories sometimes will spring up around places where young people go to either party, make out, whatever. So I'm not surprised.
Well, it really did kind of give me this because, the creepy woods, kids having sex and getting paralyzed halfway through. It gave me a very Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees vibe. Like
How long does it take them to unfreeze? Do they say they see anything? Are they scared stiff? What's causing this freezing? They don't know.
it's kind of like the other piece, with a surprise. They ain't telling. They're provoking me to go to Ohio, Layla.
They're provoking you to not only go to Ohio and leave your car, but to also have sex in the cemetery and see if one of you freezes up.
Yeah, that's basically the challenge.
Okay, I've heard this challenge loud and clear.
So basically, those are the things I have found about this particular place.
That sounds like a very active cemetery.
And it sounds like that pretty much anybody who goes there comes back with some sort of story. There are professional ghost hunters that have gotten videos of the, or we'll call them orbs, videos of the orbs. They've been able to get on their recorders, voice recordings of things. Just like with every cemetery, there's the banshee stories. But from all accounts, this does absolutely seem like a legit extra haunted. I mean, I kind of look at every cemetery as haunted in a sense, but this is like one of those, okay, let's make sure we, like Fallbrook. I'm bringing my stones, I'm cleansing when I get home, I'm making sure I cut ties before I get in the car. Like this is a cemetery that sounds like you need to take it seriously if you
Yeah,
are going to go and tussle with its occupants.
did anyone have any theories as to why this particular place was so active?
No, I never saw any theories as to why. The cemetery dates back to like the mid to late 1800s, but there was really no rhyme or reason. I guess, and I'm theorizing here. I didn't find anything to base this other than me theorizing. But when you're talking, mid to late 1800s, the Civil War was going on, there was food shortages, there was disease spreading,
A lot of tragic death.
the whole bit out, and you're talking in Ohio in that time period, this wasn't, one of the bustling coastal towns. These were places that were still getting settled and stuff. And I just think it was just an area that just had a lot of dead people that weren't ready to be dead, so they stuck around.
A lot of these places that have people who died young or died tragically, they do tend to be more active than others. That's one of the reasons people think Fallbrook is so active is because it was a lot of children that died in a very short period of time and a lot of young adults that died tragically.
And again, in the same period of time when there was famine, there was, Fallbrook had tragedy and the town dissolved. But a lot of these places in these particular time periods, they always say, especially with Gettysburg, you get folks that died in the war, they don't know they're dead.
Their shade keeps trying to do the same things over and over again. I am going to put my fighting gloves on. I have a bone to pick with both Hopewell and Fallbrook.
Okay, spill your beans.
These two places have a reputation for having a banshee, and that's going to make me crazy. Now, I'm no Morgan Daimler. I am no historian of the she here, but I do know my banshees. Banshees are a type of she. They're a type of fae. They usually appear as women, sometimes as old, haggard women with wild, crazy hair, bony hands, very scary.
Stop describing me on a Saturday night.
Us after a few too many whiskeys. Now, these women, these banshee, are usually tied to a place or a bloodline. They herald death. When they scream, if you hear them scream, that means either you or someone you love is about to die. They are an announcer of death. They don't announce that, hey, dead people are here, ghosts are here. No, no, no. They announce the death of the living. So there are no banshees at Fallbrook or Hopewell because if you hear a banshee scream, you're fucked and you're not happy about it. And people would be talking about all the deaths that happen after they hear the banshee scream. So they might be hearing a ghost scream, maybe they're hearing an unearthly scream, but it drives me nuts when people say that it's a banshee because that's not a banshee. That's not what a banshee does.
I did hear a scream at Fallbrook. I could see how someone who maybe doesn't know enough, I don't know a nice way to say it, someone who hasn't explored the aspects of banshees and the she, all you know about banshees is it's something screaming in the woods, supernatural. Okay.
Yeah, something supernatural screaming in the woods. That I can buy.
Unintentionally misnaming it, but yes, you can just have random ghosties screaming in the woods, and damn it, it ain't a banshee.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's some sort of weird supernatural scream. And it could be all sorts of things, and we did mention that in Fallbrook there was a very large Scottish population there. So maybe, we were saying that that one could possibly be a banshee, maybe tied to one of the families that came there, but then you'd have to ask people when they hear the screaming. But did you die though? Or did someone that you love die? Then we'll know for sure if it's a banshee or not.
Okay, I'm going to sideline myself here for a minute. I do have a theory, though, on screaming ghosties.
Okay.
I agree with you. Every screamer ain't a banshee, but I personally, this is my own belief. This is based on personal experience and not based on anything else. I have always believed when I hear screaming ghosties that those ghosties, you know how some spirits are well intended and some are a little more ill intended?
Mhm.
I feel like the screamers are ill intended.
Oh, interesting theory. And that would be another good reason to say that it's not a banshee, because banshees aren't screaming to hurt you. They're not screaming to cause a death. They're basically an announcer.
Like if you're hearing children in a cemetery, you're not gonna, children playing or laughing or crying. That doesn't bring a sense of negativity. So I have always associated screaming ghosties with ill-willed
There you
ghosties.
go. Yeah, definitely the time to whip out that black tourmaline and
Not a banshee, but I feel like the screamers are ill-intended.
exactly. And banshees don't intend ill will. They're not causing the death. They're just announcing it. So that's another clue that it's something more malevolent.
So as far as the Hopewell Cemetery, I need an Ohio resident to go there and give me the dirt on this place. This is my homework to all Ohio residents. You need to go and report back to Layla and I because I want to know what the
I do
surprise
too.
is. I want to know the surprise.
I want
This
to
is
go
killing
there
me.
and do some ghost hunting because it sounds like you're going to get some EVPs. You're going to get some ghost orbs. And I'm excited. I'm about to add a Polaroid camera to my tape deck. And
Ooh.
I'm still working on getting clear recordings that sound like something more than of our possible EVPs for people. So if anybody knows a good way to get stuff from a very old tape recorder to digital, let me know.
I got one more quick story from Ohio that I just couldn't resist. And this one I had to do for you because as I predicted, didn't take a psychic for this. You have a damn lady in white story. And I
True.
love that you do because in Cincinnati, there's a little old place called the Hilton. Hiltons are always fancy schmancy. But this is the Hilton Cincinnati Netherland Plaza. Well, damn, that's a name. So this place has something that's right up your alley, Layla.
Oh, are you saying they have a full service weed bar?
Actually, it might. We should go check it out. Now, what is my favorite color? And it's okay to tell the listeners.
Green.
Okay. So the Hilton Cincinnati Netherland Plaza has a lady in green.
What? Not a lady in white?
Not a lady in white, a freaking lady in
Interesting.
green.
Well, that's kind of cool.
There's a lot of cities across the country that have like the ghost tour thing going on. So this hotel is actually at the top of the list of all ghost hunts in the Cincinnati area. So the Hilton Cincinnati Netherland Plaza is like an Art Deco type hotel, opened in 1931. And it was a hotel that had like literally a half of acre of Brazilian rosewood paneling. Like they went all out.
Wow.
Here,
Fancy.
here's one reason I need to see this place. They have what's called a Hall of Mirrors designed after the Palace of Versailles.
Wow. Fancy.
I know Winston Churchill stayed here, and you know I love English royal history, and Winston Churchill was Queen Elizabeth's favorite prime minister.
Well, yeah, that's pretty close to royalty, close enough for Shell.
Close enough. He was so impressed with the bathroom. Why are men totally into bathrooms? Can I just ask this question?
As long as they're bigger than the Hawthorne Hotel bathrooms, we're good.
No joke. So Winston Churchill was so impressed with the bathroom that he had an exact replica put in his house.
Damn, if Winston Churchill is stealing your shitter design, then you know you
It's
did
pretty
good.
fancy.
It must be fancy.
So the most famous ghost at this place is called the Lady in Green. This was created, I don't know how big it is. I've never been there, obviously, but it says that it took thousands of men to build this hotel back in the early 1900s. And they believe that the Lady in Green was the wife of one of these men. Um, I haven't found anything where they even can put a name to her. So she is most often seen in that Hall of Mirrors. So here's my first thought. Remember when we were kids, you'd go to a fun house and you'd go into like the mirror
Hmm.
place and you walk in and you see like 99 reflections of yourself. All I can picture is this Hall of Mirrors and this lady in green, and all of a sudden you see 8 million lady in greens.
Well, we already know that mirrors are portals, particularly if you put them facing each other. So if you
Right?
have a whole hall of mirrors, what were they thinking? They were basically inviting ghosts.
Pretty much, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Okay.
So they have this gorgeous Hall of Mirrors, and so the lady in green is most often seen there, but she also likes to ride the elevator. There was actually an employee who was on the elevator, a lady in green dress got on the elevator. They made small talk. He chatted with her, and he turned to look and make sure he pushed the button, and when he looked back, she was gone. Doors didn't open.
Classic lady in white slash green. Haha.
She's not in white, Layla. She's in green.
Still the classic lady in white trope. I love it.
There was another guest that was in the elevator, and while the elevator was moving floors, all they could hear was blood-curdling screams. When the doors
Wow.
opened, the person ran out and said a woman in green had appeared out of nowhere and then disappeared again. She likes to ask for help. She will just say, "Excuse me, can you help me?" That's it.
Yes. This is so good. This is classic lady in white. I love it.
Layla,
Yeah,
did you not hear me? I said lady in green.
I know.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. This is
Green.
so good. All right, so what's the real story? Tell me more.
That is the real story. What do you mean, what's the real story?
Who was the lady in green? How did she die? Like you said that she was someone's wife. Did they say how she died?
No, they're not even sure she's someone's wife. They're guessing.
Hey, witches. Future Layla here. This story really intrigued me, so I reached out to find out more about the lady in green of the Hilton Cincinnati Netherland Plaza. I discovered that she does indeed have a classic lady in white backstory, despite her fashionable green dress. When the hotel was being built in 1930, her husband was a construction worker. The couple was hardworking but poor, and she had saved up to buy a beautiful green dress for a worker appreciation party. On the night of the party, she got all dressed up, ready to go meet her husband for a night of dancing and drinking in celebration of the hotel, only to find out when she got there that her husband had died that day while working on construction for the Hall of Mirrors. It's said that it's her ghost that wears that beautiful green dress and spends her nights restlessly searching for her beloved husband in the mirrors and the elevators of the hotel and asking the people that she sees for help. When the hotel was renovated in 1983, her ghost became even more active. Many of the construction workers of that time had tales of seeing and even talking to the lady in green. Future Layla out. Because very often in these lady in white slash green stories, there's usually a real historical event. Like you can trace it back to something that very closely resembles or resembles exactly the origin story of the ghost. So this lady in green possibly being the wife of someone who worked there. I wonder if the story goes that she died before it was completed or something like that.
I could not find an origin story for her. That was the kicker. And it sounds like they're just assuming that she just happened to be the wife of one of the people associated with its build. And again, this wasn't even stated clearly. It could be because of the style of her dress. I'm not sure. She could have been maybe an early customer that stayed there when it first opened in the 30s and maybe died there. Like they don't, I could create a backstory, but
So your lady in green doesn't exactly follow the lady in white mythos.
that's because she's in green, Layla.
I know. There you go. That must be why. So there are a few characteristics that are the same. One of the cool things, much like my lady in white story, your lady in green involves liminal spaces. And I'll explain. In America, the lady in white story, okay, so the lady in white mythos involves a young woman, typically, young, beautiful woman, usually a bride or a young mother or someone who's engaged or
Love
dating,
struck.
love struck, very often, yes, wearing a dress, a party dress, a white wedding dress, an engagement gown, something usually beautiful that evokes happiness, youth, innocence, that kind of thing. They then usually die tragically, typically near water, and in America, they very often die near a road or a boat. And I think that has a lot to do with America. You know, we were big on the roads and travel, and particularly in the 30s, early 1900s, when a lot of these ghost stories happened, roads
Cars
and
were becoming a thing.
that's right. It was very, very new. This was the new liminal space, the new magic conveyance that could take you from here to there. Roads, crossroads are liminal spaces. Waterways, crossroads along a waterway are liminal spaces. Elevators that take you between floors are liminal spaces.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So she very much follows some of the very similar tropes. Now, the other thing that these lady in white slash lady in green stories have in common is that she's seen near her place of death. So we're assuming she died somewhere near the hotel, but they talk. These women that are either hitchhikers or walking along a place, they talk
They're
to people
seeking something. They're seeking an answer to a question. She's asking for
for
help.
help or asking for home. They usually are asking for a way to get home or they're asking for help. And they
Yep.
will make small talk, which is something that differentiates them from other types of hauntings. So she matches not in all ways, but in a lot of different ways.
Whatever. Whatever. So, if you have any info, again, to our Cincinnati, Ohio folks, on the origin story of the Lady in Green, I need to know so that I
Oh,
can
yeah.
prove to Layla that the Lady in Green is not the Lady in White.
So much similar.
But it was funny because I chose Cincinnati as a place to do a little deep dive in, and there's a lot of haunted places there. Like, who
Yeah.
freaking knew?
It's wild. I'm telling you, someday when we get our van or our schoolie together and we travel around the country,
We're ghost hunting for a
we're
living
ghost hunting. We'll go to all these supernatural,
with
witchy,
a Ouija
haunted
board,
spots. Yeah, with a few Ouija boards.
right?
So I do have a Lady in White story, and Lady in Whites fascinate me because you find them everywhere.
Now, where's this lady in white from? What state are we going to?
This particular Lady White, she's from near Chicago, Illinois.
You literally picked the same part of the country as me.
I did. I did. She is called Resurrection Mary, and she's famous because a lot of people have seen her. She's been on Unsolved Mysteries. People have ghost hunted for
I
her.
feel like I've heard it before. I can't recall the story, but I feel like Resurrection Mary is familiar to
I
me.
believe there's even a movie made about her. First, I'm going to explain a little bit about Ladies in White, and then we'll tell you about Resurrection Mary. So they fascinate me because you can find them everywhere. Every single state, every city in America has a Lady in White story. There's some folklore involving a hitchhiking lady in white. You'll also find them all over the world. Other countries have Lady in White stories that follow the same type of pattern as well. This archetype is deeply embedded in our subconscious for whatever reason.
Unless they're the lady in green, but go on.
That's right. They're usually young women who died in distress. Their stories involve heartbreak, lost loves, abandonment, betrayal, unrequited love, that type of thing. And they're usually tethered to a specific place. And people will see them wandering near that place. Usually it's a lake or a road. They're usually asking either for help because their boat crashed, or they're trying to get back to their friends and they don't know what dock they're on, or they're trying to get home and they need a ride to get home from somewhere. Now, in other countries, it's usually a little different. They're not usually looking for a ride. Like, for example, you have La Llorona from Mexican folklore. She was a woman who was betrayed by her husband, and she killed her children in a fit of madness and then committed suicide once she realized what she had done. So there's a lot of tragedy and heartbreak around these ladies in white, these ghosts, no matter where they're from. In Japan, you have the Onryo, which I think The Ring, like that ghost story, The Ring,
Yep, yep.
was similar to that. In Slavic mythology, you have the Rusalka, which is another type of ghost that gets revenge. Not happy ghosts. None of these are very happy ghosts. In America, the Lady in White is entwined with the vanishing hitchhiker story. So here we have Resurrection Mary. And the first story that I heard of involves a young man named Daniel. So he's driving along Archer Road in Chicago around 3 a.m. in October. It's eerie, it's cold, and this road is desolate. Old shops and buildings, closed dance halls, shuttered bars, that kind of thing. And his phone's dead, so he's listening to the radio. The only station that comes in is mostly static, but he can hear a little bit of rock music in the background, so he's good,
We've all done it.
right? So as he's driving, suddenly the radio comes in crystal clear. And it surprises him, so he looks down at the radio, and when he looks back up, there's a woman who wasn't there before, standing in the glow of a street light. And he thought that she looked out of place because she's wearing a white dress and white shoes, and it's wet and cold and windy outside, and thinks that she's almost glowing in the light of the street light.
As most ghosts do.
Exactly. So he swerves to miss her and stops. And of course, she's right at the window as soon as he stops. And she is pale, blonde, white as a ghost, literally. And he asks if she needs a ride because he's feeling sorry for this young woman. And she nods silently and gets in the back seat. He looks in the mirror and asks her where she's going. And all she does is whisper home and points down the road, straight down Archer in the direction that he'd been going. So he just drives along and he keeps checking on her in the rearview mirror, and he sees that she's crying and looking out the side window. So he decides to just keep going and figures she'll tell him to stop when she's ready. And he's listening to songs, music on the radio, keeps glancing at her in the rear view, and he's just about to ask her where exactly she's going when the static comes back on the radio. And again, he looks down in surprise. And when he looks back up and glances in the rear view, back seat's empty. So he slams on the brakes, pulls over in front of some wrought iron fencing, and There's nothing. Nobody. Nobody around. Nobody in the car.
I love it.
He opens up the back seat, and much like you in the baby bonnet, there's a white ribbon in the back seat and nothing else. He's parked in front of Resurrection Cemetery, and there's no one around. And he's just had an encounter with Resurrection Mary. This type of story has happened over and over again in that same stretch of road, Archer Road. This does have some real origin stories. The original story says that she was a young woman in the late 20s, early 30s, and was dancing at a bar called the O. Henry Ballroom down on Archer Avenue, and got in a fight with her friends and with her boyfriend, and was hitchhiking home when she was hit by a car and killed.
Oh.
And she had been wearing a very pale colored dress, 20s style, blonde hair, the whole thing. She's buried at Resurrection Cemetery, which is about a 30-minute drive southwest of Chicago, which is right along Archer Avenue.
Was that the home she was talking about?
That's the home she's referring to.
Oh my God.
Resurrection Mary is famous. She's even been on Unsolved Mysteries in the 90s. There was a young man named Jerry Paulus, and he's the first person who supposedly saw her ghost. In 1986 on Unsolved Mysteries, he says that he was out with his friends. It was 1939 at a ballroom going dancing, and they're out having a great time, and he meets a woman, blonde, wearing a cute dress, and all she wants to do is dance. She doesn't talk much. She just wants to dance. He thought that she looked a little old-fashioned, but hey, cute girl, just wants to dance. He's having a great time. He didn't ask any questions. What guy knows fashion anyway? So he found out that her name was Mary and that she lived on South Damon Avenue. And so he knew about where she lived. And he said when they were dancing, he noticed that her hands were icy cold, but he didn't think too much of it at the time.
Buddy, she was dead. Just saying.
His mom always said, cold hands, warm heart. And so that's all he remembers really thinking. At the end of the night, he offered her a ride home. She said, well, you can walk me. And they start walking down Archer Avenue. And he said, why would we walk this way? You don't live here. You live up here where you told me. And she says, no, I want to go down Archer Road. So he's like, okay, whatever. So they're walking. And as they get to the cemetery, he's like, hey, I'll walk you home. Where are you going? And she says, where I'm going, you can't follow. And she turned towards the cemetery and then disappeared in front of his eyes.
Talk about being ghosted on a date.
Yeah, exactly right. He was so enamored of this woman who literally ghosted him that he went to the address that she gave him and asked the woman who answered the door if her daughter Mary was home. She said she didn't have a daughter Mary, but he saw the pictures on the wall and said, that's her. And she said, that's my daughter. She died 5 years ago, struck by a car a month before her 21st birthday.
This guy's probably shitting himself.
And he did. And he insisted for years
He had a date with Mary.
that he had a date with Mary. Now, other people have seen her. A cab driver, Bill Geist, was quoted in a newspaper, January 31st, 1979. 2 weeks before, in the middle of January, the blizzard of 79 dumped over 20 inches of snow in Chicago. The night before that happened, he dropped off a passenger and then picked up a young woman who was wearing a fancy white dress. And he said, quote, those new kind of disco type shoes, but no coat. And he remembered her because
No coat.
no coat, and it's about to be a blizzard. He says she was a looker, a blonde. I didn't have any ideas or like that. She was young enough to be my daughter, 21 tops. I asked her where she was going, and she said she had to get home. I asked what was wrong, if she had car trouble or what, but she didn't really answer me. She was fuzzy. Maybe she'd had a couple of drinks or something, or just was tired. I don't know. All she would say is, the snow came early this year, and would just stare out the window. She demanded to be let out at a point on Archer Road. The cabbie couldn't see anything but the cemetery.
I want to go to Archer Road.
He stopped where she asked him as he was looking around to ask her where she was going to go because there's no houses there. When he looked in the back seat, she was gone, but the car door never opened, he said.
I want to go to Archer Road.
Other people have seen her. Sometimes people will say that they'll see her at dance clubs on Archer Road, and she'll ask for a ride home, but then disappear before they leave. Other people that pick her up as a hitchhiker on the road will say that she often leaves a white ribbon or a white piece of lace in the seat where she was.
I
So
want to go. I want to go. I want to go.
right? Pretty crazy. So yeah, Resurrection Mary is so famous. People see her all the time on the road that they even made a movie about it. She's been researched and photographed. There's even a photograph from 1939, and you can clearly see the face of a woman, and then it's all blurry white. It was a ghost.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So very famous. But yeah, Lady in White tales do fascinate me. So of course you knew I was going to pick a Lady in White story.
That's why when I saw that Lady in Green story, I couldn't resist.
That's just so cool because they do follow such a common pattern of having a usually a kernel of truth, some story that fits it, and just following such a clear formula. And in America, being tied up with a vanishing hitchhiker, which has always that type of story has always fascinated me.
Mine just has better fashion sense and picked green.
That's right, picked a very pretty color. White just washes out a ghost.
Right.
Green gives you a little color, gives a little life to the
Don't
cheek.
make you look so pale.
Right, exactly. So that is it for my ghosty story, but I am excited to get ready for Halloween. I'm loving this time of year. I am loving working with Crystal City Circle and getting ready for our Samhain ritual. There's just so much going on. It's just a fantastic time.
This is my first season working at a retail location in downtown Salem during haunted happenings. Holy moly guacamole, jeepers. I have probably seen 30,000 people in the last couple of weeks.
So it's like in-person Black Friday shopping every single day of October, right?
It is, it is. But I have met people from literally all over the world, and people are fabulous. I've met listeners, I've done selfies, we've had great chats. It is amazing. Which, by the way, if you do find me and you come to Salem, I swear I'm going to push you to buy something. It's what I do. Everybody needs to
Good
leave Salem with
job.
fun, good stuff. But sometimes you need to take a minute. The hustle and bustle is fun. Everything we do this time of year, the apple picking and going to the pumpkin farm and going to the cider mill, that's all fun. But it's also almost like a planning. October almost feels like planning time. It's you're getting ready to kind of hunker down for the winter, and it's almost like, all right, time to do shadow work again. Here we go. 'Tis the season for shadow work. So it's kind of like I look at it as a time to kind of set yourself up for that introspection period. The last hoorah.
Yeah, I like that you said it's planning. I mentioned that for Crystal City Circle, our sound ritual is coming up. And one of the things that we're doing is carving intentions, carving our big vows, big plans into some candles that we'll be using during the ritual. Not so much like a New Year's resolution,
Like a to-do list.
a little bit, yeah, like a big one, just one big thing that we vow to try to do for the year, and try to really make that important and make that big. So I've been working on kind of deciding what I want to do for that. Like you said, planning for the next year. What vow do I want to make for me, for future Layla for the next year? What things do I want to sacrifice or sacrifice what no longer serves me, like you were saying last episode? And getting ready for that has been pretty big, trying to pay attention, I think, to the themes of the season and really incorporate them into my journaling and into my like everyday life, I guess.
I think it's a cross between that and I do find it, I don't want to say easier because it's easy for me anyway, anytime, not just now, but it's more conducive to kind of do that ancestor honoring, that ancestor connection, that, hey, thanks for covering my ass for the last 365 days. Hope we do it again this next year. But, kind of that where you take a moment of thanks or reflection, like the Thanksgiving for your ghosty spirits.
Mm. Yeah, we've talked before about the mute supper, and
Yep.
that one of the things I like to do is to set a place. I don't put food on it every night, but I do like to regularly set a place at my table to invite my beloved dead in to celebrate with us. And on Samhain night, I do like to put a few treats on there that I'll then put outside for the animals. I also find that in addition to ancestor work and things like that, I find that this is a divination time of year for me. I'm really drawn to pull out my cards. I work with all my different tarot decks. I find that I'm tarot journaling more and really diving deep into different types of divination, different types of scrying, working with my pendulums. I just made a set of dowsing rods that I've been working with that have been kind of cool.
Nice.
I'm not quite sure how to use them for divination, but they've been great for finding energy spots on my land. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, I really like divination in the dark half.
All right, Layla. I am glad you're sitting down. I have a confession, and you cannot tell anybody.
Okay, I'll keep it a secret, just us and a few thousand of our favorite friends. Go ahead.
Shh, don't tell. I'm kind of getting into oracles.
Wait, Oracle decks? Hold. Oh, wait, I
Shush.
said that loud. Did you say you like Oracle decks?
I said I'm getting into. We aren't going to go so far to use any L words here.
Was your gateway drug the Samhain Oracle from Secrets of the Witch?
Honestly, you know that I've always loved that goddess oracle that I've had for
That's
a
true.
hundred years.
Yeah, but that always was like the exception. I mean, that's goddesses, it's different.
Right, right, right. So I was at the store, and we're in the midst of our season of the witch oracle for Samhain sweepstakes contest, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, maybe I should get one of those for me. I'll just try it. I'm not gonna like it, but I might like the pictures. What the hell? And I opened it up, and I was like, hey now. Ooh, hey now. Ooh, hey
It's
now.
good.
It's good. It's
It's
good.
really
Damn it.
good.
And I was actually kind of mad at how good it was. But yeah, that's just between you and I. Don't tell anybody.
We won't, all of our listeners, they're going to keep that secret for you. I know they will.
Shh.
Shh. Just in our little circle, our
Our little
witchy
circle.
circle. So, the other thing I'm working on, which has been a lot of fun actually, is two meditations, the spirit meditation and also the crystal countdown meditation. And man, I've been really digging it. I've been having a great time. Probably the crystal countdown meditation will be the first one that will come out. I've been rereading The Power of the Witch, which is where I originally learned it. And I've been doing my own version of the crystal countdown for so long that when I reread Power of the Witch, mine is very different than Lori Cabot's. So I took the original idea from her, but then I went in a
In a Layla direction.
I embellished it in a Layla direction, and I really love it. So I'm very excited to be able to share that with everybody and to kind of revisit my roots a little bit and read that book because that was one of the first books that made me realize that what I believed was paganism was witchcraft and was pretty awesome. So that's
Same.
been a lot of fun.
And that's why anybody says, what book should I start with? Power of the Witch, Lori Cabot. I
I
don't know what
love
else
it.
to tell you. Got nothing for you.
And it still stands up. Granted, I haven't reread the whole thing, but I'm reading quite a bit of it. And so far, what I'm reading still stands up today. So that's pretty impressive. And, this is a great time of year to read. So I am tackling my to be read pile is starting to get smaller. I'm really excited. But we're also very lucky coming up, Chelle. We have some authors, some wonderful witches, some very cool magical people that we have been delighted to meet that are coming on the show.
'Tis the season for
It
guests.
is, and for lots and lots of books to read. So, yay.
Yeah.
Also, we have a list of haunted places to go. So, the next time you're feeling like fucking around and finding out, Shell, I have a few haunted places that we could go ghost hunting at.
I think we need to do this. Yes, we need to take Ouija boards, a couple tarot decks, and your dowsing rods, and off we go.
All the things. So thank you everybody who has sent us some haunted location suggestions. Keep them coming because we really are making a list and I'm hopeful that next year we'll be able to stop at least one or three or 10 of them.
All.
All of them. That's right. If Shell has her way, it will be all of them.
All of them.
And I am starting to collect some old Ouija boards, so I have all sorts of cool things that we could try out.
Seriously, people, if you have Ouija boards that you want to dump off on people, we will take them. P.O.
We
Box
totally will.
106, Salem, Massachusetts, 01970. Send them to us.
Send them to us. The more haunted, the better. I have a couple now. I think I have three now from the old Salem, Massachusetts boards. And the prize of my current spirit board collection is the Ouija Queen that I just got from 1942.
I only have one board that was made in Salem, so now I'm jealous because you have three. Damn you.
Someday we will have a studio together and all of these will be up on the wall.
I'm manifesting that shit right now.
Me too. I'm manifesting that shit so hard. All right. Thank you all. If you would like to help us get our studio together, please become a benefactor. Click on the link at the bottom of the show description, or you can go to our website, backonthebroomstick.com, and follow the links to become a benefactor and donate to help keep the show on the air. And a special shout out to Federica, a listener in the UK and a beloved benefactor who is also the winner of our Seasons of the Witch giveaway.
Yay!
Yay! Hopefully, well, not by the time this episode comes out, but hopefully before our next episode comes out, Federica will have her box of goodies that's got Seasons of the Witch and a few other witchy items that Chelle and I have gathered and put together there for you.
Long live the king.
You and your obsession with the monarchy.
I couldn't help it. Sorry.
All right. So for everybody else out there, I hope you're enjoying your Season of the Witch and enjoying this beautiful, wonderful October month.
And we want you to keep it ghosty
And keep it witchy.